Good afternoon. Much later in the day. We generally do these at lunchtime, but we've been busy doing all sorts of stuff today. We've had family quizzes. I made a unit for the bathroom, which now doesn't fit the bathroom, so we've got to find another place in the house for it. You've just had a long call. What have you been doing with your friend?
Playing Roblox and playing Animal Jam.
Playing Roblox and Animal Jam. I don't really know what either of those things are, but are they fun?
Yeah, Roblox. You know what Roblox
I
is.
know what Roblox is,
But
I don't know
Animal
what
Jam is a bit like Roblox, I'd say.
Right.
But you can play games in it, and you can build dens and stuff.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Fun stuff. But you caught up with Amelie, which was nice. And we've done a few other things. Ooh, wind suddenly. So we are back, and what we were just trying to remember before we started filming, what books we did yesterday. We knew they were all rude, and there was lots of bottom-related stuff yesterday.
Like
we knew
Cinderella's
they were all rude.
Bum and
Yeah.
Nerdy Ned.
Oh, yeah,
Called what?
And we couldn't remember what the fourth one was, but it was rock, paper, scissors. So we just went and looked, and there was a bum reference in that, because he says about the apricot, where he says rock says you sir are a fuzzy little bum, or something like that. So I think all of the books had
That just makes me laugh.
bum references in them.
Yeah.
But today's aren't so childish. If there was a common theme through all of these, it's reassurance. I think is probably the kind of the common theme in all of these. Reassurance. Yeah. So we got some nice ones here. Right. Let me show you what they are. Kitten Called Moonlight. Can't speak. Kitten Called Moonlight. Beautiful illustrations by a guy called Christian Birmingham. They always look to me like they're photographs, and he's then kind of painted over the photographs. But we'll show those in a minute. One of kind of three books that in this series that this gentleman's done. Stephen Mackey, again, beautiful pictures. The story all kind of sort of set at the North Pole. That would have worked well in our snowy week. Can barely have a week without an Oliver Jeffers book, and this was one of his early ones, The Incredible Book Eating Boy.
It's a bit of a weird book.
It is a bit weird, and it's all about the fact that he's eating books. And look, there's even a chomp out of the back here,
Really?
where he's
Oh, yeah.
where he's had a chomp out of the back of the book. Another book by Jim Field. We had a couple of Jim Field books yesterday, and again, most weeks, along with Oliver Jeffers, we've had quite a few Jim Field books. But this was a nice one, The Way Home for Wolf.
We are gonna have to line inside.
Line
sometimes.
Inside. That's in your room somewhere, isn't it?
No,
Is it not?
on the downstairs
Oh,
bookshelf.
you know where it is there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then by final one here by Nadia Hussain, who is the celebrity chef
Yeah.
lady. We met her a couple of years ago. She was rather lovely, wasn't she? And that's called My Monster and Me. Right, okay, let us start, because we've got tea after this, haven't we?
Yeah.
What have we got? We've got omelets. Is it omelets?
Yeah, I think so.
Right, okay, let's start with A Kitten Called Moonlight. Like I say, the pictures in this are beautiful, but they look like they're kind of sort of photographs that he's don't know what he's done, but they're very clever. A Kitten Called Moonlight. You did like. I don't think you can barely remember this, but you liked it when you were little. I'd like my story again, Charlotte said. Which story? Asked Mummy. The one I like best, about Moonlight and Me, Charlotte said. I think that's the one it might be. I thought that's the one it might be, Mummy said. Once there was a white kitten called Moonlight, Mummy said. We don't know what he was called. We don't know he was called Moonlight, Charlotte said. We just know he got lost. That's right, Mummy said. The little kitten was lost and alone and wandering about. It was a cold winter night. The little kitten was crying, said Charlotte. Maybe he wanted someone to find him. There he is. Maybe he did. We don't know. Then a big something came. It was a car, Charlotte said. I expect the little kitten had never seen a car before, Mummy said. He was scared and he hid. The car light shone into the dark, and there were two shiny bright eyes. Somebody saw them. I know who saw them, said Charlotte. It was a little girl, Mummy said. She'd been to a party. The little girl told her mummy she'd seen something move in the dark. There's something down there by the boats, Charlotte said. That's what the little girl told her mummy. Yes, mummy said, but her mummy hurried her into the house. She didn't want her to catch a cold. What happened then? Asked Charlotte.
It's like a rip in the page.
There is a rip in the page, isn't there? The little girl had her supper and her mummy put her up to bed. Later she came to see if the little girl was asleep. But the little girl's bed was empty, said Charlotte. The duvet was thrown right back and the little girl wasn't there. My goodness, where can she be? Thought her mummy. Something like that, mummy said. Her mummy searched all over the house. I like this bit, Charlotte said. She found the little girl curled up by the window, gazing out at the dark sea and the moonlight that shone on the shore. What are you doing up out of bed? Asked her mummy. There's something down there by the sea. I know that there is. That's what the little girl told her mummy, said Charlotte. Yes, she did, mummy said. And her mummy didn't believe there was, but she thought for a bit and said, we'll take a look to make sure. The little girl and her mummy went down to the shore, Charlotte said. Yes, mummy said. They searched and they searched, but they couldn't find anything. Something was here, said the little girl. She knew she was right, Charlotte said. Yes, mummy said. But her mummy still didn't believe her. She told the little girl, we'll take one more look, just in case. The little girl and her mummy walked out on the rocks. There was only the moonlight to see by. They walked right out by the edge of the sea. And what do you think they saw there? It was a kitten, said Charlotte. There he is. Oh, he looked terrified, didn't he? A little white kitten, said mummy, all thin and bony and cold. It was on a stone with the sea splashing round it. The poor little kitten was hungry and scared. The little girl and her mummy got splashed, but they rescued the kitten. And the little girl carried him all the way home. She gave the kitten some warm milk and he went to sleep in her arms. And after a while the little girl felt sleepy too, and her mummy carried her and the kitten upstairs, and she tucked the little girl in her bed all cosy and... You've forgotten the best bit, said Charlotte. Her mummy said if no one owned the kitten they could keep him forever. She said they should find a good name for the kitten, and the little girl knew straight away what it should be. Moonlight would be a good name, she told her mummy. We'd never have found him without the moonlight. So that's what they called their kitten, mummy said. Now you've told me the end of your story.
I think that picture's on the front of the page.
That one, yes it is. Good spot, you're good at spotting those. We love that story, don't we, Moonlight? Charlotte said. And I know why, said mummy. We love it because it's about us. Charlotte said, Moonlight and mummy and me. Look, he's not grown that much older. That's not that long ago. There, beautiful, isn't it? Kitten called Moonlight. Can you remember that one?
No, I've never read it.
Never read it. Okay. Right. My Monster and Me. So this is, as we say, Nadia Hussain, the chef lady. If you can't remember who that lady is, yeah, that one. This is my monster, and this is me.
These are very short words on it.
Yes, yeah. I've always known my monster. It's always been there, and it knows all about me. Maybe my monster arrived when I did, and maybe it moved in when I learned to walk and talk. I don't remember. It was always big when it stood in front of me. I could see nothing but its huge tummy. At night when I lay in bed, I could hear nothing but its ginormous growly snore. I wanted Mum to take it away, but when Mum was there, my monster hid. I wish my brother could take it away, but my monster hid again. I wanted Dad to take it away, but it hid from him too. My monster got bossier. It started telling me what to do when I was getting dressed and brushing my teeth. When I wanted to play with my toys, it sat on me. This is a bit like Ruby's worry, actually. It's
Yeah.
a similar story to Ruby's Worry. It even made me stay indoors when my friends came to play. I wanted to go out and join them, but my monster stood in the way and wouldn't budge. One day, my monster was waiting for me after school. It was gigantic and it was in a bad mood. I tried to lose it, but I couldn't. It followed me all the way to Gran's house. Gran asked me what was wrong, and in the end I told her how my monster just wouldn't go away. It wouldn't leave me alone ever. Gran listened quietly. And suddenly my monster stopped what it was doing and listened too. It seemed to me that as I talked, my monster got smaller and smaller and smaller. And then I knew that I could make my monster go away. The next day I saw my monster at school. It looked a bit lost, so I picked it up and put it in my pocket. I stroked its fur and it went to sleep. It wasn't as scary anymore. I don't worry about my monster so much these days. I go to school and play with my friends. My monster likes my pocket, and I feel okay knowing it's there. But if it ever feels like getting out, I tell it to behave. My monster is part of me. We've known each other from the beginning. This is me, and this is my monster. So it's a bit like Ruby's Worry, isn't it?
Yeah, and it shrinks. Ruby's
Yes,
Worry shrinks.
exactly, when she talks about it. Right, which one next?
I'd say the way back. But
The Way Home for Wolf. It's got a very distinctive way of writing, Jim Phil.
Yeah.
The Way Home for Wolf. As a rainbow of lights flickered soft in the night, dusting diamonds of ice in a desert of white, the wild whipping wind, it whistled its tune to a howling of wolves and a shimmering moon. And the loudest "Halloo" in this echoing song was a wolfling called Wilf at the heart of the throng. He loved to be fierce and longed to be grown. He liked to try everything all on his own. "Look at me, I'm big, I'm tough," he would growl, whilst he showed off his strength and practiced his prowl. One night it was time for the wolves to move on. New folks had moved in and their shelter was gone. So they left right away to find a new cave. They would have to walk far and they'd have to be brave. "Let's go," shouted Wilf. "I'm ready to lead." "You're too small," laughed the wolves. "It's an elder we need." "One day," they advised, "you will guide from the front." "I suppose," muttered Wilf with a huff and a grunt. They struggled through snow as high as their flanks and leapt over rocks as they scaled icy banks. Wilf gave his all to keep pace and keep up, but strong-willed as he was still just a pup. You hear Millie there?
Yeah.
He kept dropping back with each clamber and climb, as the pack journeyed further away all the time. Exhausted and breathless, he stayed off the track when a blizzard blew in, and he lost his way back. Wilf longed to howl, "Help!" and to holler it loud, but his throat was too hoarse and his heart was too proud. He lay on the tundra, his tail curled up tight. A blanket of stars was his bed for the night. Until... crack went the ice, crack and creak. Wilf jumped to all fours with a deafening shriek. He stuck out the claws on every limb. He had to hold on because wolflings can't swim. Then he fell, and he fell, rolling and spinning. It felt like the end, but was just the beginning. Since somebody down there had heeded his scream, and she swooped from beneath like a watery dream. "I'll help you," she called. "Just reach for my horn, a majestic and magical sea unicorn." Wilf's pride washed away, and he stretched out a paw as she lifted him gently back onto the shore. So that's a narwhal, isn't it?
Yeah.
What do they call it? A sea unicorn. "Don't worry," she sung before dipping her brow. "My friend Mr. Walrus will help you out now." And there, right behind him, a huge tusky fellow lifted his whiskers and let out a bellow.
To the ridge, he proclaimed with his chin in the air. My friend, mighty muskox, will take you from there. And with waftings of fish and a very loud snort, their journey was made and their travel seemed short. And there, sure enough, on the ridge was the ox, who took Wilf as far as his friend Arctic Fox, who followed his nose through the trees to a goose, who guided him honking to this ancient moose. The moose knew these wilds like no other soul. He was steady and true in pursuit of their goal, and as twilight closed in, Moose sang out a call to a fluttering, tiny fluff ball, a bear moth, who showed Wilf the rest of the way to the place where this wolfling was most wanted to stay. Thank you, Wilf waved as he rejoined his pack, and the wolves howled with joy that their wolfling was back. They huddled him in and cuddled him close and fussed over which wolf had missed him the most. Wilf, he knew then, that when all came together, the darkest of times are easy to weather. So he bowed to the narwhal, ox, walrus and goose, and vowed to the fox, the moth and the goose and the moose, if ever I meet one who stayed off their track, I'll help them along by guiding them back. And true to his word, Wilf is different now, and his world seems much smaller and warmer somehow, since wherever life takes you, wherever you roam, we're all just a handful of friendships from home. There, that's a nice story. So we've done Squirrels Who Squabbled, but we haven't done either of those two yet, have we?
We are go. You might do that next week.
Yeah, and we have got the Koala Who Could. But we've definitely not done that so far.
No.
Okay, Oliver Jeffers, and we'll finish with Miki. And then we'll have our tea. You find this a bit odd, don't you?
Yeah.
But some of Oliver Jeffers' books are a bit odd. Henry loved books. But not like you and I love books. No, not quite. Henry loved to eat books. It all began quite by mistake one afternoon when he wasn't paying attention. He wasn't sure at first and tried eating a single word just to test. Next, he tried a whole sentence and then the whole page. Yes, Henry definitely liked them, and by Wednesday, he'd eaten a whole book. Not what you're supposed to do with books, is it? And by the end of the month, he could eat a whole book in one go. The incredible book-eating boy. Henry loved eating all sorts of books. Storybooks, dictionaries, atlases, joke books, books of facts, even maths books. But red ones were his favourite, and he was going through them at a fierce rate.
I know that page like nearly off by heart because at school we had it open the book and I kept looking at it all the time.
But here's the best bit. The more he ate, the smarter he got. There's a little diagram. Book goes in, information goes to brain, brain gets bigger, belly gets full. That's how it works. That's not how it works in real life, is it?
So,
He ate a book about goldfish and then he knew what to feed Ginger. Before long, he could do his father's crossword in the newspaper, and he was even smarter than his teacher in school. Henry loved being smart. He thought that if he kept going, he might even become the smartest person on Earth. And getting a medal for being the smartest person on Earth. So he kept eating books, and he kept getting smarter and smarter. Look, he's on a quiz show. Look how many he's won. 4,367 against 2. And smarter.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, he went from eating books whole to eating them 3 or 4 at a time. Books about anything. Henry wasn't fussy, and he wanted to know it all. But then things started going not quite so well. But I'm going to eat your... In fact, they started going very, very wrong. Henry was eating too many books, and too quickly at that. Bite, chew, 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 pulp, gulp, green, bleh. But he was getting to feel a little ill.
It's a bit gross.
It is. And here's the worst bit. Everything he was learning was getting mixed up. 2 + 6 = elephant.
He didn't have time to digest it properly, and it became quite embarrassing for him to speak. Suddenly, Henry didn't feel very smart at all. I know, miss, I know. Miss, me. Do you do that at school?
No.
I was just miss. More than one person told him he should stop eating books. No more books. Your head and belly can't cope. Besides, it means no one else can enjoy them. You owe me a total of... So Henry gave up eating books and sat sadly for a long time. What was he to do? Then, after a while, and almost by accident, Henry picked up a half-eaten book from the floor. But instead of putting it in his mouth, Henry opened it up and began to read. And it was so good. Henry discovered that he loved to read, and he thought that if he read enough, he might still become the smartest person on Earth. It would just take a little longer. Now Henry reads all the time. The Incredible Broccoli Eating Boy. Although every now and then, this is where that chomp bit comes in. Look, he has a bite out of the bottom of the book. It says, please do not try to eat this book at home. Right, Miki. And if you like this one, we've got a few more Mikis. Can't remember the name of them, but Miki and the Moonflower is one of them. Sort of feels a bit Christmassy, this one, but it's not.
A dot in the snow is a tiny bit like Mickey. A dot in the snow.
Yes, it is actually, isn't it? Yeah. In fact, there's a character in it called Miki, isn't it?
Yeah.
Different looking Miki, but yeah. On Midwinter Eve, when an icy wind blew, the moon weaved her magic, and wishes came true. Again, it's beautiful pictures. A long time ago, and very far away, there was a place that was always cold and dark. Nothing grew in this icy world. I wish we could find just a little tree, said Miki to Penguin, and at once a little tree sprang up in front of them. But the tree looked lonely and bare. Miki and Penguin took it home. I wish we had some pretty lights to cheer it up, said Miki. A string of fairy lights suddenly appeared. Miki draped them over the little tree. If only we could make them twinkle, she said. The very next moment, a twinkle machine appeared. Penguin climbed aboard and pedalled faster and faster. The little lights began to glitter, throwing sparkly beams over the snow. But soon Penguin's feet were tired and sore, and the pretty lights faded. We need someone stronger, he sighed. Miki and Penguin jumped. Polar Bear appeared from nowhere. He was the strongest creature in the land, and beside him was a windmill. Polar Bear huffed and puffed, and the little light shone bright. But even the strongest creature can run out of breath, and soon the three friends were in darkness again. I wish, said Miki as she fished for supper, I could catch a star. A star would shine forever. All of a sudden there was a big tug on her rod, and Miki was gone. That's another narwhal, isn't it? Narwhals seem to be the theme this week. Right. Looks like the narwhal's taking her down below. Help! Called Penguin. Polar Bear looked into the fishing hole. Miki was nowhere to be seen.
He's eating cereal.
Oh, yes. And it's your Cheerios, isn't it?
Yeah.
But down in the deep blue ocean, Miki was safe in the magic of Midwinter Eve. A gentle giant was taking her on a journey. She gazed with awe at the strange, wonderful creatures. There were sea urchins, eels, and jellyfish. Oh dear, cried Miki, but he only wanted to show them the way. He waved his tingly, tangly tentacles. We're here, said the gentle giant. Miki dreamily floated down until she reached the ocean floor. Back on the ice, Polar Bear bravely decided to dive down to search for Miki. Down, down he went, but there was no sign of his little friend.
I don't know how she can open her mouth when she's underwater.
This is very true. Very true. It's magic, I guess, isn't it? It's the magic of Midwinter Eve. It's all about magic. On the ocean floor, Miki had fallen asleep, safely snuggled inside a sea flower. She was awoken by a gentle tickle. Tony the octopus. A tiny octopus danced in front of her. "Come with me," he said. Miki parted the petals. A wonderful sight met her eyes. In front of her were 100 twinkling stars. Well, starfish, actually, aren't they? Back on the ice, Polar Bear popped back up through the hole. "No sign of her," he sighed. "I wish I could dive down," said Penguin. And at once Penguin, it says Penguin there, Penguin, found himself dressed in a little penguin diving suit. "Lower me down, Polar Bear," he cried. See, Penguin the penguin. Down he went. All the time he looked about him, calling out for his friend, but his voice was too small to be heard. Penguin had never been so deep in the sea before. The watery world was full of strange and fearsome creatures. "Pull me up, Polar Bear," he cried. But he's not far down. Polar Bear hauled him up just in time. "No sign of her," said Penguin sadly, "but we must never give up." At the bottom of the ocean, the magic was wearing thin. Miki knew it was time to go home. The tiny octopus took her to his mother. Oh, she looks a big one. Polar Bear was just getting ready to search again when there was a rumble, a splinter, and a crack. The little fishing hole was opening up bigger and bigger. The ice started to move beneath their feet and the ground heaved and shattered. And the biggest creature the friends had ever seen shot out of the fishing hole. That's a bit creepy, isn't it? There, nestled safely in its long arms, was Miki. Just in time, for it was nearly midnight and the magic was running out. And in Miki's pocket was a sparkling star, a star that would shine forever. On Midwinter Eve, when the icy wind blew, the moon weaved her magic and wishes came true. The little star shone for all it was worth and spread midwinter light all over the earth. Just feels a bit Christmassy, that book, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's kind of. I think it's just whether it's kind of snow. I suppose they put lights on a tree and things like that. That made it feel Christmassy. Right, I think we're done, and I think I heard Alexa go beepity beepity beep just a moment ago. So that probably means that our tea is ready. So let us say TTFN. Let me flip it round so people don't want to hear me say TTFN. They want to hear you say TTFN.
Goodbye.
Yes.
Bye.
Hello.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Bye.
So we will see you back tomorrow for more Adventures of the Wishing Show. We won't see
Bye.
you. We'll see Emily, but we'll see you back on Tuesday.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.